All right. Welcome back, everyone. I am Stoner Dave with Reefer Madness Genetics, and this is Nutrient Investigations. FloraFlex goes wet? What? Okay. Let's do a bit of a dive here into this and see what's going on. Oh, by the way, stay till the end. We'll have a special code for you for some discountage. That being said, FloraFlex goes wet. So FloraFlex has been around since like 2013. They make a fabulous nutrient line as well as a lot of irrigation systems. Now they came out with a super cheap like 700 watt light, which I am gonna like absolutely have to have because it fits a 4x4, and that's just too good to not have for like $375 or something. Anywho, FloraFlex has come out with a wet base, a wet CalMag, a wet silica, a wet bloom, and a wet veg. Wow. Before they only had V1, which is veg 1, V2, which is veg 2, bulky B, and full tilt. Interesting. All right. So let's take a look at the base, or the base real quick. Where's my base? There we go. So total nitrogen 4%. That's 0.3 ammoniacal, 3.7% nitrate nitrogen, soluble potash 1.4%, calcium 4.8%, magnesium 0.1%, boron 0.018%, copper chelated 0.003%, chelated iron 0.05%, chelated manganese 0.008%, molybdenum at 0.001%, and chelated zinc at 0.006%. That's a pretty solid base. Looking at the veg formula, which if you go to our other video on FloraFlex, you'll see their veg and bloom formulas. They are not this well-rounded, that's for sure. This is really well-rounded. Wow. Okay, let's take a look at the veg. Veg total nitrogen 1%, that's 0.99% nitrate, 0.1% ammoniacal. Available phosphates 3%, soluble potash 4%, calcium 0.04%, magnesium 1.2%, sulfur 1.5%, copper, that's chelated 0.002%, chelated iron 0.016%, chelated manganese 0.01%, and chelated zinc at 0.002%. Again, we are seeing a much more well-rounded veg formula in both the base and the veg. Let's check out the bloom. Available phosphates 4%, soluble potash 4%, calcium 0.04%, magnesium 1.2%, sulfur at 1%, chelated copper at 0.003%, chelated iron at 0.02%, chelated manganese at 0.016%. Yeah, like, wow, okay. Let's check out their CalMag. Where am I? Here we go. Total nitrogen is 2%. That's nitrate, nitrogen. Calcium at 3%. Magnesium at 1.2%. That's water soluble. And then chelated iron at 0.1%. That's a pretty well-rounded CalMag. So, they also have a hypochloric acid and a silica. Let's take a peek at the silica before we wrap up. So, their silica actually has 0.5% nitrate nitrogen for a total of 1% nitrogen in the wet silica. Soluble potash 1%, and then of course our soluble silicon, that's 0.5%. All right. That is a decent silica, pretty well-rounded silica product in my opinion. So I'm excited to try it out. just to go through some of their recommendations for fertigation on everything. For 1 gallon, they're looking at like a 120 ml shot spaced out every 4 to 6 hours. That's 1 gallon quick fill irrigation strategy for cocoa. You could probably do the same thing with stone wool, or most other hydroponic mediums that you could use. Then for flowering, days 1 through 10, 5 to 7 200 ml shots every 20 minutes starting 1 to 2 hours after lights on. Days 11 through 42, 4 to 5 200 ml shots every 20 minutes starting at 1 to 2 hours after lights on. 1 to 3 200 ml shots every 3 to 4 hours. And then days 43 to harvest. So depending on what how fast your strain is, depends on how you may want to stretch this out just a hair for those longer sativas. But for 5 to 7 200 ml shots every 20 minutes starting at 1 to 2 hours after lights on. And then for a 2 gallon, you're looking at 5 to 7 400 ml shots every 20 minutes starting at 1 to 2 hours after lights on. Days 11 through 42, 4 to 5 400 ml shots every 20 minutes starting at 1 to 2 hours after lights on, or 1 to 3 400 ml shots every 3 to 4 hours. Days 43 to harvest for a 2 gallon is going to be 5 to 7 400 ml shots every 20 minutes starting at 1 to 2 hours after lights on. With FloraFlex, they're really good. Both, I would say probably both the wet line and the dry line, you should flush maybe for like a 48-hour period, you know what I mean? Give it a good 48 hours just to kind of work out a little bit of the salts out of that soil or out of the medium before you're done with it, whether it be cocoa or stone wool. I mean, hell, if you set it up right with your irrigations, you could do this type of setup with soil, but you couldn't do the frequency of fertigations. You really, really need that cocoa, and you need the ability for it to dry up quicker than soil is going to. Soil is going to retain that water way too long, so don't think about using soil with their type of irrigation setup and having that amount of nutrients being pushed into your medium. It's just not going to work for you. That being said, you can get their stuff at FloraFlex.com. Really fabulous nutrient product. Again, they came out with a 700 watt daisy chainable LED grow light. I'm going to briefly go over because I'm just now seeing that they have a par map. So for their 700 watt light, in the middle, 1575, 1575, 1575, 1575. Out in the outer corners, 638, 638, 638, 638. So that's amazing. That's kind of a little bit of a hot spot, but that's still really, really, really good coverage, considering that almost out to the exterior corners, like one corner in from the exterior corner, you're still looking at like 1093 or 1154. That's pretty amazing. So highly recommend their nutrients. Here's their recommended dosages. So if you're on a EC scale, this is for a 1.6 to 1.8 for clones. That's 1 mil of wet silica, 9 mil of wet base, 9 mil of wet bloom, and their hypochloric acid, the HOCl. That's for cloning. For veg, 1 mil of wet silica, 12 mils of wet base, 12 mils of wet veg, 1 mil of the hypochloric acid or the HOCl, and for the EC that's a 2.4 to 2.6 range. For both the pHs on those, you really want 5.5 to 6.0. They should be fine at the 6.0 range, but they say 5.5 to 5.8 for the clones, 5.8 to 6.0 for veg. Okay. Going into bloom days 1 through 49. Again, for the EC range, this is going to give you an EC range of 2.4 to 2.6. So you want per gallon wet silica 1 mil, 12 mils of base, 12 mils of bloom, and then 1 mil of the hypochloric acid or HOCl. Okay, pH 5.8 to 6.0. Bloom days 50 through 60. This is going to give you an EC of 1.2 to 1.4, so they scale it back for this. So you're only going to have 12 mils of the wet bloom and then 1 mil of the hypochloric acid or the HOCl. And that's going to be at a pH of 6 to 6.2. And then for their recommended flush, which they only recommend a flush for 2 days, ironically enough, what did I say? 48 hours. So days 61 through 63, so that's a 2-day flush at a pH of 6 to 6.2. And this is going to give you an EC of 0.2. You're only going to do 5 mils of that hypochloric acid, which is going to help clean out anything that's residual in the medium. This does not mean that your plant is not going to have anything that added that you put into it. So please don't think that the inputs don't matter, because they absolutely matter. They're going to be in your final product no matter what. So that being said, much love to everybody. Hope you guys have a fabulous rest of your weekend. Take care, stay lifted, and keep growing. Woo! Oh yeah, before we let you go, we'll give you that special discount code here from our bros over at Quickstar Seeds. That's qsseeds.com. They've got us up there. They've also got some Elevate up there. They're growing, but they're really small still, but they're good friends of ours, so we want to support them. They've got a 10% off anytime code with code GROWME at qsseeds.com. So get on over there, use that GROWME code anytime, 10% off. And from what my bro said, it sounds like this is gonna be for like years already set up, so you should be good for a long time. But get over there, check that out, and they also have some holiday codes whenever those pop up. So check out what they've got in stock, and hopefully they can appease your taste buds. But other than that, take care again, and peace.